Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the Morning, 15 minutes. Last day of this Mayim. Okay, so let's just recap what we've been discussing and finish it off. So basically, we discussed what does it mean, Mayim Rabim. It's stresses of our lives, it's financial concerns. It's all these things that that on a simplistic level, we'll notice that it takes us away from connecting to God and serving God and making Hashem feel very distant and very, you're very disconnected. So then we explained that even though that is true, but that doesn't take us away from connecting to God. And we said it doesn't take us away from connecting to God, and it's a big chiddush. But we said, but the reason is because really the source of neshama is on a higher level than these Mayim Rabim. In the beginning, we said the Mayim Rabim are coming from a higher level, come from Toyu, whereas the neshama comes from Tikkun. But in its true source, the neshama comes from a level above Tikkun. So that's what we said. And then we said not just the Mayim Rabim can extinguish the love that Nefesh Elokis has to Hashem. So even more, the whole purpose of the Mayim Rabim is really just to bring out that love. And sort of we flipped it on its head. That we might think to ourselves, there's a problem within us, that we have these stresses, and then it shows we have lack of bitachon. But what we're saying is you have to recognize, there's nothing wrong with your lack of bitachon as much as recognize why they've been brought to you. And therefore, you'll be able to see it differently. It's like, for example, it talks about in Tanya, that if you have foreign thoughts while you're davening, you have to recognize that this is coming because the Yetzer Hara, the Nefesh Bahamis, is not being successful, and you're davening so well, so it's come to push you down because they don't like it, so they're trying to distract you. So he said you shouldn't start arguing with that thought, but instead you should appreciate the fact that thought is happening, and that shows that you're doing something good, and therefore keep it up. You're doing good work and keep on fighting. And sort of that's the same thing we're saying here, that these Mayim Rabim, they're coming to bring out within you a deeper level. It's like when you get pushed, suddenly you realize you have infinite more potential than you thought. And that's what the Mayim Rabim are achieving. That's essentially what we said. And then we said but the question is, we said that the neshama comes from Atzmus. But we said through coming down to this physical world, we're reaching a level above Atzmus. And we said, what does that mean above Atzmus? There's nothing higher than God's essence. This doesn't make sense. So we said it's because it's a difference between the neshama before it came down versus the neshama after coming down. Before when it came down, it was a tzaddik, or it was in potential. It has the potential to do all these good things, but after it came down, it actualized it, which is a simple example of you have an idea of how to run a business and how to make it a very profitable potential. That it's beautiful, but when you actually do it, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different experience. And that's what we're saying. The neshama came down, it had a little potential to do all these good things, but it hasn't actually done it. And when we come down and we're in the Mayim Rabim and we succeed, which is, like I said in the Mayim, we know we're going to succeed, it brings us to an infinitely greater level. That was until Vav. And now we're going to finish on Vav. The Rebbe packages it all together and brings it out. So, like how to end off. And essentially what we're going to say is, it's because of this information that we just understood. So now, we can look at ourselves and say, Tishrei was great. I love Tishrei. I wish my year was always Tishrei. And what we're learning from this Mayim Rabim is that it's not true that we should be happy going out of Tishrei. I have a friend that he told me that it's always a big shock, like going from Tishrei to the mundane. It's like a very big letdown. It's very it's hard. It's a hard experience because Tishrei is so exciting, especially this year. There's so many, it's like Yom Tov and Shabbos, Yom Tov and Shabbos. So you're constantly in this holy environment, without the distractions of life and your phone. And then suddenly you go into like a whole week, last week, a whole week of just the regular mundane. So it could be very hard for a person. But we're saying now that we understand all this information, That the purpose of the Mayim Rabim is not to pull us down, but it's really to reveal a deeper level within us and to show us how connected we are and to get us to reach the level of Al Tshuva, which is infinitely greater than Tzaddik, so that I'm happy to go do it. That's what he's going to explain. So here, Vav. We can connect this with the idea that Yaakov went on his way, which we say on Shabbos Pashat, meaning throughout the end of Tishrei, we say this concept, Yaakov went on his way. And so the idea is like, you should go successfully out of Tishrei. That's the essential idea of Yaakov HaLachdarka, and they say it, the Gabbai says it after Shabbos. It says after Shabbos Bereshis. We said it, as I say it after Simchas Torah sometimes. That even though after Tishrei, the person got so inspired and so excited after in Tishrei and suddenly have to leave and is going to the mundane, which seemingly is very different and very distant from Tishrei. Until not just you leave Tishrei to the extent to even get into the stresses of life. And suddenly you go back into reality and all that money that you spent on Tishrei, suddenly you have to pay it back somehow, and it's time to stress you out. Nevertheless, al yedei zeh gufa, hu mis'ali yosem. But we, as we've explained in Mayim, through those Mayim Rabim, that will actually help us get to a higher level. Shenas b'chinas mahalech, we become a goer. Meaning we're going, we're doing, we're moving, we're movers and shakers. Like it says in the pasuk, Yaakov halach l'darkei. Yaakov went on his way. Meaning halicha in the Chassidus talks about this a lot, that halicha is going. It means you're progressing. That even though you have all these stresses, but you're progressing, you're going, you're doing good things, things are happening. You know, v'yediyah zu, and this knowledge, shehayirida, the darkei, b'inyanei rishus, v'chulu hilatzech aliyah, knowledge that what we explained, that going into the Mayim Rabim is not a descent, but it's an ascent. It's going to get us up to a higher level, like we explained before. This affects, so it causes us to be happy going. It's like I remember one year, I was taking down my sukkah, and I was very depressed about it. Like I had a very good sukkah, and the sukkah was very enjoyable, and I had a lot of rain, and everything was really exciting. Suddenly, I'm taking this enjoyable thing down, and it was hard for me. It was very like an emotional experience. And then I realized, I said the same Hashem that wants me to build the sukkah and wants me to bring in the sukkah and eat in the sukkah is the same Hashem that wants me to take down the sukkah now. And it's the same thing. We realize that we're happy going because this is what I'm meant to be doing now. I'm meant to be in the world, and I'm meant to be going back to work and dealing with all these life's challenges. Val derech, Mashal like explains, Lagabi Yaakov, Yisa Yaakov Aglav, Gamer, Mishanis Basra, B'Surus Tevin. Like it says about Yaakov that he lifted up his what was it? Idea Mashal Yaakov, Yisa Yaakov Aglav, lift up his feet. And why? Because Mishanis Basra, B'Surus Tevin, he heard good news. That's like we're hearing good news. We learn this Mayim, we hear good news that the Mayim Rabim is not a negative thing, and really just to bring out, to show how great we are. When we overcome those challenges, it's going to reach us a level infinitely greater than we could have reached on Simchas Torah and in Tishrei. So I'm excited. I'm excited to go back into the world. And this affects which causes it, because we do it happily, because of what we understand and what we appreciate about the Mayim Rabim, so that cause our avodah should be in ultimate completeness. And totally above any limitations. So we come out so strong that we can overcome any challenge that we have, like way above it. Challenges don't even become challenges anymore, which is bechinas b'chol meidecha, like it's to the level of all your might, that we're totally out of this world. Because like it says, that the happiness breaks all boundaries. So because you're happy, because you recognize that the Mayim Rabim is not going to pull you down, it's going to lift you up, so you're happy. So that happiness has an effect that you can break through all your boundaries. So whatever's a Mayim Rabim, you can destroy it, so to speak, and it'll be a totally different experience. And you'll gain so much on all levels. And therefore, when you go out into the world and you start to do your job in learning Torah, doing mitzvahs, and doing kindness, the tachlis hashleimus, in the most complete of ways, and specifically doing it happily, so then Hashem will bless you everything that you need. In the three general categories of everything that exists within it, which is children, health, and sustenance. You'll be healthy, you'll have healthy children, and you'll have the parnasa that you need. Through recognizing the Mayim Rabim is not to pull you down, but it's to lift you up, and through recognizing and doing that happily. That's the key. You do those happily, you're happy to do it because you understand this is going to reach you to a greater level, and you'll get blessed because of that. In the most complete of ways. And not just complete way, but in a happy way. You'll be happy, you'll be good. You'll have an amazing year, an amazing experience. Not just spiritually, also in the physical world. You'll have a good life, you'll have a good stuff, you have good everything you need, you'll have it easily and happily. And together. The spiritual and the physical should be together. It's not that I'll have my physical and my spiritual be lacking, I'll have my spiritual and physical be lacking. I'll have both of them together and they'll all be part and parcel of the same thing. Beautiful. So the lesson, I guess everyone can take their own lesson from this, but I think the lesson is like we explained before, and people had asked questions before, that's very much the Mayim Rabim seem to pull us down and take us away. But after we learn this maamer and we learn it again, and we internalize it, and we think about it, we meditate on this. So what is that? So how can I apply this to myself? How can I take something that's stressful for me and I feel that's taking me away from God, or that is distracting me from being happy, and how can I transform it? And learning and understanding this, they say the whole purpose of that stress is not to stress me out, it's to get me to overcome that stress, to reach a higher level and a deeper connection to God. And when I do this, when I do that, and I recognize what that is, and I do that happily because I recognize that being happy is what is the aim of the game. Not the aim of the game, but it's the process of how to fulfill the game successfully. So then it all works out great. And then not just will work out great, you'll have everything you need because of that. And so I hope everyone enjoyed and have an amazing experience with going back to the life after Tishrei. And it should, like we said in the Mayim, we should become all Baal Tshuvas, even though most of us are already Baal Tshuvas, but you can come Baal Tshuva again. And like we said, the place that Baal Tshuva stands, the Tzaddik Gamur is not able to stand. It's totally out of his or her realm of reality.